Welcome to this very rainy Tuesday morning in Melbourne. And we have just finished our Black Friday promo, which was the first time that I'd actually run a Black Friday promo. And it actually had some just fabulous response in terms of people really wanting to get onto the online courses with free bonuses and also discounts. So that was awesome. Today, not only will I answer any questions that you have for me today, but I also wanted to chat to you about Christmas. So I normally have to put a date in the diary. I have to block out my day to actually, set up our Christmas decorations. And I was talking to a friend this morning, and she was saying, "Oh, I just open the box and the kids decorate the tree, and that's it." And I thought, "Oh, that sounds like a fabulous idea." But I've got all these glass ornaments and various other bits and pieces that are really quite delicate that I've collected over the years from when I used to live in Amsterdam, and I collected things from other countries that I always sort of added to my tree. So it's more of an undertaking for me to set up for Christmas. So I've always got a plan in the diary: when are we going to set up the tree, because it really takes a day to get everything out, set it all up, and then pack up all the empty boxes and so forth. So I thought, well, because it's actually this Sunday that I'm going to be setting up our tree, I sort of feel like I'm a week late, but it is what it is. So I've blocked it out into my diary to set it up. So I thought I'd talk to you today a little bit about the different themes that you can have for Christmas. So last year, hang on, I'll backtrack a little bit. I have always had an artificial tree, and I know that that's a bit contentious. I absolutely love the smell of a real tree. I have a little bit of an issue environmentally with it. I suppose you can also flip the coin and say, well, you're buying essentially what is a plastic tree. So I suppose environmentally there's always going to be issues. But because I set up the tree so early, because I think I go to all this effort, I don't want to then have to pack it up in a day or 10 days time. Once it's taken so long. So I want to be able to enjoy it. So I feel that if I buy a tree so early on, it's never going to last the distance. And I do personally have a bit of a problem with buying a real tree, even though I really love going to other people's houses and they've got this beautiful tree. There is nothing like it. And in Europe, I did buy a tree. I can remember having the real tree on the back of my bicycle and taking it home, and I had it for 1 year. I did do that. But I lived in a really small apartment, so I bought myself a really skinny tree that was appropriate for an apartment, and I've still got that. And the kids basically dress that up and do whatever they want with that in our second living room. So it means we've got that tree, and then we've got our really, really big tree. Hi, Alan. How lovely for you to join. So, sorry, there's the phone. I should have sort of organised that and sorted that out. So what I wanted to talk about was just a couple of themes. So last year when we got the tree out, we're going through this really big collection of dried flowers, and dried flowers are really, really big at the moment. So they've made a really big renaissance. And so this is a really good opportunity for you to actually use some dried flowers, dried arrangements, and so forth, and actually put them in the tree. So you could actually go back to my Instagram feed from last year and you'll see that we created this natural tree. So I had my, artificial tree, but then we put in a whole lot of organic matter. So we had dried flowers, we had dried leaves, we had all manner of different sorts of flowers. We got a whole lot of things from the garden. And we basically just put everything into the tree, and it looked absolutely amazing. So the theme was wooden decorations. It was basically anything that was natural and organic. So we had no baubles. It had to meet that organic, I suppose botanical theme, something timber. And I had a lot of timber decorations from living in Europe. So that looked incredible. And so now my daughter really wants to have a very traditional theme, which is the theme that I really covered off a lot in Europe. So I only ever had a tree that was silver and red. So we had the green of the tree, the silver, and then the red decorations. And I was very, very pedantic with that, and clear lights. I don't like coloured lights. So we're probably going to go with that theme this year as well. So I've got a lot of glass ornaments that are in the silver colour, lots of red, and then we've got the green. So she really wants to do traditional this year. And I've always stuck with silver and red. Now, you can actually, maybe encourage your kids what sort of themes you want to have. You can have the white tree. You could have maybe your favourite colour tree. So I've seen a lot of pink trees around. It's there to be creative. And I actually am now really embracing the fact that it doesn't have to be the same every year. And, I always have this thing, we buy a new decoration every year that we add to it. So there's always something new that you can do to make your Christmas a little bit different. Now, on the back of this, natural botanical theme that we had last year, and we hosted last year, I actually created a whole lot of table settings that were all from pine cones. I had dried eucalyptus leaves, and I actually made something for the napkin. I tied it with twine, and I had some decorations that I made for running down the table. And so they were all part of this theme. So the whole thing, we wrapped everything with brown paper. I did raffia. So the whole theme, not just the tree, was part of this natural theme. And I mean, I really loved it, but now obviously my daughter wants to have this traditional theme. So we'll probably wrap everything in red. I can still use some twine, I can use silver, but if we're going down this red and silver route, I can then do that in the table decorations. So it really just depends how far you want to go. But I want to encourage you to think a little bit differently this year in terms of, what's your favourite colour? And you don't necessarily need to go and buy all the decorations in that colour. You can actually then, maybe make some things. Crochet is really big at the moment. I saw in the Better Homes and Gardens Christmas magazine that they show you how to actually make and crochet baubles. You could get the kids to make things, you could colour in things, but it doesn't have to be everything that is bought. So, think about your favourite colour. What's maybe something that you're thinking about that's going to be, if you're hosting Christmas, the theme that's going to be on your table, and maybe you're then going to run that through to your Christmas tree. So there's lots of different ways that you can mix it up. I know that I've always said in seasons of autumn, grab, the beautiful coloured leaves, the autumn leaves, and put them in a vase and have them in the home. There's lots of things that you can do. So my challenge for you is, what's your favourite colour, or what's a theme that you'd like to have for your Christmas this year that is not necessarily, you can have conventional, because obviously this year I am going conventional, because that's what my daughter's told me that we're doing. And of course your daughters do tell you what you're doing. They're very close to now telling me what I can and can't wear. Maybe just do it different than what you did last year. So I was really happy to run with the natural theme again this year, maybe because it was so new for us last year. But what's something different that you can do this year? And the other thing to remember is your tree doesn't have to be completely covered in decorations. You can have it quite minimalist. Maybe you want to have a different coloured tree this year. I always stick with green and then basically create everything off the back of that. So I'm not sure if you've, the people that are joining me now, have you actually put up your tree yet? And what's a colour that you might add to your tree? This year. So you could actually mix. So for example, my favourite colour is turquoise teal. So we could have, if my daughter was going to let me, I could have red and silver, and then I could have just pops of teal, just really, really scattered around the tree. And then I could have a couple of teal ornaments or things that are coloured in teal just on my table setting, so it links it all in. Not necessary, but sometimes, I do have a bit of a play with it. Now that I've got daughters that are really into this stuff, I basically let them run with it. So have you put your tree up? That's my first question. Have you actually done your tree? And if you haven't, what may be something that a colour or a theme that you're going to run with this year that you perhaps haven't done in the past? I think it's a really nice opportunity to just have a bit of fun. I do find it a bit of a pain to get everything out. But when it's all up, I really love it. And then when everything goes down, I think, oh my goodness me, the house looks so bare, because I do have, I scatter things around in the pot plants. I put little colours in the pot plants, and we get the cards out and things like that. Okay, that's Christmas. Any questions for me this week, especially off the back of the webinar? The webinar was on Thursday, top 5 tips for designing your forever home. had some lovely feedback, which is really great. And people are now getting into the courses if they got the bundle deal, which is now all finished. But have you got any questions for me that you'd like me to answer this week? And I'd really love to know what colour you're going to put on your tree this year, or what theme you're going to have. The white theme, the Scandinavian theme, you could just have timber. Maybe you're going to go for the bling theme and you've just got all the glitter balls. I've got lots and lots of glitter balls. Steph says, too busy with plans for Forever Home to get our tree up. Oh, Steph, I've lived through those years. Absolutely. In fact, I know when we moved into this home 6 years ago, we moved in, I think, a few days before Christmas. I said, girls, we are not having a tree this year. I'm really sorry. And we actually were going somewhere else for Christmas. I thought, I just can't cope with any of this. So we went somewhere else, and I didn't have to deal with putting the tree up just that once. So totally understand, Steph. Is the Forever Home plans, are they all going well? You know, have you got it all organised? And yes, I get that laughing face. And I wouldn't be putting a tree up either if I was you. As long as you plan it with the kids, it's all good. All right, well, lovely peoples, lovely peeps, as we would say. The podcast is going up this Thursday, all about spare rooms. This might be interesting for you, Steph. All about spare rooms, and do you really need them? What else can they be used for? And how much is that actually going to cost you to have a spare room that you may not use? So I'm going to be talking about that on the podcast this week. So that will drop into the player on Thursday. So I will see you here next week, same time, same place, 12:30. And otherwise, listen to the podcast on Thursday about spare rooms. Very interesting for if you are creating your floor plan now. All right then, everyone. I'll see you here next week. Thanks for joining. Bye for now.